Hi everyone, I'm Christy Ray, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how to choose the perfect theme for your WordPress website. Now, I'm setting up a website called Chrissy's Camping Corner. It's just going to be a simple camping website, and right now I'm using a brand new, fresh WordPress installation to do this. If you're going to be updating an existing WordPress site, you got to be careful doing that. I recommend doing it on a development site, maybe setting up the new website on a development site, playing around with it on there. Don't do all of the stuff I'm doing right now on your live site because you could mess it up. I don't want you to do that. I'm actually using something called Local. If you search for WordPress Local, it's an application that's installed on my computer that lets me create new WordPress websites that only exist on my computer. So you can see right now, I've got Chrissy's Camping Corner.local. That just exists on my computer. I can share it with other people. There are a few tricks that I can use to share it with other people, but right now it's just on my computer. And if I go into the dashboard for the website, you can see it's Chrissy's Camping Corner.local/WP-admin. So in the dashboard of your WordPress website, if you go to the appearance menu and then choose themes, that's going to show you what themes you already have installed. You can see right now that I've got 2022, that's the currently active theme, and then I also have 2021. I'm going to delete 2021 because I don't really need it. So I'm going to click right here where it says theme details, and then click delete, and then click OK. And I'm going to leave the 2022 theme alone. I'm not going to delete it even after I install a new WordPress theme later on, because it's always good to have a default WordPress theme installed on your site. Because if you ever have an issue down the road, if you ever install a plugin or you update a plugin or you update WordPress and something breaks, a lot of times the WordPress theme developers or the WordPress developers are going to ask you to switch to the default theme, because sometimes the issues are there's a conflict between a plugin and the theme. So switching to that default theme can help to eliminate that as a problem. So always leave the default theme installed, but you can delete all the other ones. Now I'm going to add a new theme, so I'm going to click up here where it says Add New, and that's going to take me into the WordPress theme repository. All of the themes in the WordPress theme repository are either free or they're what are called freemium. So a free theme is exactly as it sounds. It's free, you can use it, you don't have to pay anything, there are no strings attached. Freemium is similar, it's free to use, but they're going to encourage you to upgrade to pro or paid templates, or they may have some pro add-ons or paid add-ons, and they're going to encourage you to pay for those down the road. And we'll talk about some of those a little bit later on. Now, the first thing that I want you to notice here is that we've got the 2022 theme. That is the most popular theme. That's because it's installed by default. It's always installed on WordPress. If you install it in 2022, it might be in the beginning of 2023. It might still be there. But 2021 is still pretty popular. You can see 2020 and 2017 are still very popular as well. But the next one that we've got here is Hello Elementor. Now, if you ever want to see what a theme is going to look like when you install it on your site, you can click on the preview button for that theme. So let's click on that, and I'm not impressed. Hello Elementor is not very impressive when you first preview it, but I do want to point out that it says it's a plain, vanilla, and lightweight theme for the Elementor page builder. So what's a page builder? A page builder is a way to visually create WordPress pages using something like Elementor, Divi, Beaver Builder. There are a bunch of page builders out there. You can research those separately from this video, but I do want to caution against using them, especially for beginners. They are pretty easy to use, some easier than others, but you have to be very, very careful when you use them. If you don't know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, or any of those other acronyms that are languages that create a web page, then you can use a visual editor to create those pages without using those languages. But keep in mind that you're still using those languages. So every time you add an element to a page using a visual page builder, you're adding HTML. Anytime you add an animation, you're using CSS or JavaScript or something like that, you're adding that to the page. What some beginners will end up with is a very bloated page because they've got all these whistles and bells in there, and all of those whistles and bells add to the file size. When you add too much to the file size, it slows down the website. That's bad for user experience. It's also bad for search engine optimization. So if you want to use a page builder, be careful with it. If you are going to create something with a page builder, make sure that you're checking it against the tool that I'm going to show you in just a little bit called Page Speed Insights. So you always want to check your site against that. All right, so we're not going to use Hello Elementor because I'm not going to use a page builder for this website. So I'm going to click on the X. And the next one I'm going to look at is Astra. So again, we're going to click on Preview. And again, not super impressive. And that's because Astra is a starter theme. It's a starter template. And they actually have templates that you can install that make it look a little bit nicer than this. But before we choose that, I want to look at some of those templates. So I looked up Astra. And if you go to wpastra.com, you can actually see this is the website for Astra. So this is one of the things that I do when I'm deciding on a theme is I will look up, most of them have a website for the theme. So I'll look it up and see what I've got. And we can see here that they've got their starter templates. So let's click on starter templates. And we can see I can search. There's 230 plus ready to import websites. And if I look here in the search form, I've got Elementor, Block Editor, and Beaver Builder. Again, Elementor and Beaver Builder are visual page editors. If you want to use them, just be really careful with it. But I'm going to choose a Block Editor starter template. So let me choose that. And I'm going to find one that's going to work for my website. Let's see. I like this Outdoor Adventure. This is a very camping theme. So I'm going to preview this. I'm going to click on where it says View Full Site. And that's going to open it up in another browser window. I can look up here and I can see there's a URL. I'm going to copy that URL. I'm going to open up a new tab and I'm going to go to pagespeed.web.dev. Let's paste the URL that I copied. You don't need that question mark, customize equals template on there. You just need up through the website demos.net/outdoor-adventure-08. Let's click on Analyze. And I'm going to see how fast the page loads. So that's what this Page Speed Insights tool does. It's a tool from Google, and it's going to check to see how fast the page loads. It's also going to give me some suggestions on how to make it faster. So let's see what we get with the Astra theme. So let's see, it's a 72. If I scroll down a little bit, the time to interactive is 6.7 seconds. Not bad, not great. It could be faster. This time to interactive means that's how long it's going to take before somebody can click on the buttons on the page. So if I scroll down a little bit more, I can see under opportunities, it says to serve images in next-gen formats. You can expand that to see what that means. And it's basically telling me to use WebP images instead of JPEG. So that's something I can do with a plugin and also efficiently encode images. So if I encoded my images better before I uploaded them, then it's going to load faster. So just remember this here. I've got a 72 and this is on mobile. If I look at desktop, it's a 97, which is pretty good. So 72 is actually not bad. It's not terrible. So we're going to leave this Page Speed Insights open, and we're going to leave this open, and I'm going to leave the Astra theme open. I want to show you real quick, though, if I wanted to use this, Astra's a freemium WordPress theme. So if I went into Pro, and you can see it gives you some more features. If I click on Buy Now, you can see that Astra Pro, it includes a bunch of stuff. Well, I'd probably want to use the one that includes the premium starter templates, but I may not. So notice that I would have to pay between $49 and $249, and that cost is per year. So just remember, even though it's free, you may need to upgrade to the freemium model, and so you'd have to pay between $49 and $249 per year. So remember that. Let's go back to our themes, close this. And we're going to look at another WordPress theme. Again, this is another one that's a sort of starter theme, and that is going to be Cadence. So Cadence with a K. So let's preview that. And again, doesn't look very exciting, but if I go to the Cadence website, I gotta search for it, Cadence WP. It is up, cadencewp.com. And let's go to their starter templates and see what templates they've got. And let's see if I can find one that's any sort of camping looking one. Let's see if I can find something here. Let's see. This one, there we go, Camping Adventure Awaits. So let's click on that. If I want to preview it, I can click on this preview link. but they open it in a lightbox. So it kind of opens up. It doesn't open up in a new browser tab. But I'm going to show you a little trick. I can right click right here where it says home, and I can choose open link in new tab. And that's going to open it up as a separate web page. And we can see that the URL is startertemplatecloud.com/31. So I'm going to copy that URL, go to pagespeed.web.dev, and I'm going to paste that in there. So let's analyze, see what this one comes up with, and see how fast it is compared to the Astra starter template. So let's see. Sometimes this takes a few minutes. Click on that. Speed this up. All right. 81. Not bad. Not bad at all. If we go to desktop, we've got 98. So if you remember, for Astra, we had 72 and 97. And now you can see with Cadence, we've got 81 and 98. So performance-wise, Cadence is a little bit better. So just something to keep in mind. Again, the time to interactive, we've got some opportunities here that I could address. So this is not bad. Let's go back and look and see if there's another theme that I can install. Another one that I've heard good things about is GeneratePress. Now, you're welcome to go through and click on all of these, and you can actually see, like for Inspiro, if you preview that one, it actually has everything built in. So if you want to just use something like that, that's totally fine. I tend to like things that are a little bit more flexible, so I use these starter themes instead of stuff that's pre-built. Well, the stuff that I use is pre-built. It's going to have starter templates, but this is, once you build something like this, you're kind of stuck with it. So I like being able to move things around. So let's look at GeneratePress. Again, kind of boring, but if we go to generatepress.com, we can see here, if I go to their site library and explore sites, let me see if I can find one that's kind of camping looking. There's Summer Camp. Let's preview that one. Again, it pops up. You can't really see the URL. So if you right click where it says home and then choose open link in new tab, you can copy that URL there. So we're going to go to pagespeed.web.dev again, paste that URL, and we're going to analyze this GeneratePress template. So let's see what we get for that. All right, so let's see. We've got 72 for this one. Let's go back and we've got 81 for Cadence and 72 for Astra. So if I was to base it on performance alone, I would probably choose the... If I was to base it on performance alone, I would choose the Cadence theme. It's a pretty good theme. I've heard really good things about it, so I'm going to try it out. So the first thing, again, that I do is check the performance. And then the next thing I do is I like to check to see how easy it is to install and configure. So if I go back to WordPress, I'm going to install Cadence. So I'm going to move my mouse over the theme and then click install. And this should only take a few seconds. It's downloading and installing it. And then to make it the active theme, I need to click on activate. And that's going to take a second. Now, once you do that, you're going to get a button up here that says Install Cadence Starter Templates. So let's click on that. All right, so I'm going to choose up here where it says free only. And I want to use a free theme or a free starter template. And let's see if I can find one that looks good. There is a camping theme. If I scroll down, if I can find it, Camping Adventure Awaits, but it's a shop. So I don't really want to install that. I'm just going to find something that's going to be good for camping that isn't a shop. This one looks good, Yosemite. So I'm going to click on that. And that's going to take me through a setup wizard over here. You can change the color scheme. They've got a bunch that are built in. So you can choose different color schemes. See how it looks different for each one. If you want to go back to the default, you just click on this clear button up at the top, kind of like the default. You can also change the font family So we can go around here, change these, see which one looks best. But I kind of like the default, so I'm going to switch back to that. And then you have to decide if you want to import a single page. So if you want to just import the home page, or if you want to install the entire site, so a full site. And the full site's going to give you all of the pages. Well, most of the pages. It's going to give you placeholder pages for the various layouts. So I'm going to click on full site to import everything. It's going to give you a few options. You don't really have to do anything with them. Just leave them at their defaults. It's going to import what you need. And then you have to decide if you want to subscribe and then import, or if you want to just skip the subscription part. I'm just going to skip the subscription and start importing. This is going to take a little while, so we're going to use the magic of video editing, and we're going to fast forward through this. All right, so the theme is installed, the starter template's installed. I'm going to click on Finish to view your site, and this is what my website looks like. So now all I really need to do is go through and customize it. Now, I'm already logged into my website, so the easiest thing to do is up here where it says Edit Page, I can click on that. If you're in your dashboard instead, so if I go back to my dashboard, then I would just go to My Pages, All Pages, and then I would find my home page and edit that. When the page loads in the WordPress editor, it's going to be in what's called the block editor. And you can see if I click on each of the elements here, over here, it's going to show me the properties for that block. So you can see right now I've got a row layout block and it's got a bunch of properties for that. We'll look at those in just a minute. If I click on this image here, it's going to show me that I have a section. If I click on this one, it's going to show me advanced text. You can click on the parent of a block. You can pick all kinds of things in here, but each one it's going to show you the properties for it. So let's start at the top. I'm not going to show you every single block in here. It's going to be up to you to go through and play around with this a little bit. But if I click on this first block, this row layout, we can see here that right now it's set to 1 column. You can see what happens if I change that to 2. We've got 2 columns there. I think 1 column looks better. And if I look at the padding and margin settings, that's going to be the amount of space above, below, and then left and right. If I change the top to, let's say, 100, you see what that does? It makes that padding at the top smaller. 220 looks better. Next thing I want to change is the background. So if I look here, the background can be an image, it could be a slider, or it can be a video. So you can get some really cool appearance with that. It's going to be a HTML5 video that's going to be in the background. But right now we're going to leave this at the image. You can see that its position is set right now to 48. Oh, let me set it to 50 and 50 so it's centered. Oops, let me get that. Down here we've got the background image size. It can be cover, contain, or auto. I like cover. And the background image attachment, you're not going to be able to preview this in the block editor. Some things that you change, you're only going to be able to see when you preview it in the browser. But right now it's set to scroll. And let me show you what that means. Up here, if I click on preview and then I preview in a new tab, you can see that this image scrolls with the page. So when I scroll the page, the image scrolls away. If I go back and I change this to fixed and then preview that, you can see the image stays where it is. So the image stays still, it stays fixed, and the rest of the page scrolls. If I go back and set it to parallax, that gives me another look. So I can preview this in the tab so you get a different effect. You can see the image is moving at a different rate than the rest of the page. So choose the one that you like the best. Up to you, but you get some really nice effects with that. I'm going to stay with scroll. All right, you got a background overlay. Right now it's set to be a gradient, and you can play around with the colors, but that's where it's going to get that green overlay. So if I change the opacity, you can see that's what it would look like without the overlay. I like the overlay because it makes this text more readable, makes it easier to see. So, you know, you might want to darken it up a little bit, but you can play around with these settings. So you can see that it's got a green to a white, and you can see that you can play around. You can make it a radial gradient instead of a linear one. You got a lot of functionality there. Now let's take a quick look at how to edit some of this text. So for example, let's say that I wanted my call out up here, instead of saying best vacation ever, it could be something like choosing an RV. And so you just type in the text. You can see I just chose the text and typed it in. And then here I'm going to change this. So I'm just selecting it and I'm going to say how to choose the best Class A RV for full-time living. There we go. If I wanted to italicize anything, so for example, if I wanted to italicize Class A, I can select that, and you can see here there's a basic text editor. So I can italicize that. I can choose some text and add a link to it. You can see right now this is set to an H1. I talk about this all the time in my videos. Make sure you're using your headings correctly. If this is an H1, it should be the only H1 on the page. It should be the most important heading. You can have additional H2s, level 2 headings throughout the page, but those are going to be your second level headings. And then within an H2, you can have an H3 and so on and so on. So just make sure you're using those headings correctly. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of things you can do with the block editor using Cadence. I'm not going to go through and show you how to edit every single block on this page or any of the other pages because that's a completely different video. This video is about how to choose the best theme for your WordPress website. So again, the first factor that we narrowed it down by was the performance. And if you remember the Cadence theme, I picked that one to try out first because the performance for mobile was 81 and the performance for desktop was 98. The page speed for those two were pretty high. And so as you can see in the block editor, you've got a lot of functionality. There's a lot of customization that you can do within the block editor. So even though it's a really fast theme, it also is very customizable for the individual pages. Now, the other thing that I like to see, and I'm just going to click on update here because I made a few changes, and I'm going to click on view page. The other thing that I like to check is how customizable is the overall theme. So if I click on customize up here, that's going to open up the customizer, and now I have access to some global settings. So before I was editing an individual page, now any changes that I make in the customizer are going to affect the entire site. So for example, I can change the colors. So if I go up to colors, these are my palettes. I've got a few different options here, but how easy is it to change one of these colors? So you can see I can just click on that and I can change this color. I can make it darker, lighter, play around with that. That looks good. You can also change, if I go back, I can change my fonts. I can change the typography to use a different font if I wanted to. That's not really a good font for a website, but the Red Hat display is fine. And then I can also change the header across the entire site. So if I wanted to change the logo, I can do that. I can change the size of it, so make it smaller or larger. I can also change the navigation, choose which menu is in there. Let's see, I can also change the button. Oops, let me go back to header, button. So I can change to donate, change the URL. And I can also change the footer, which is this guy down here, and change that. So I've got a lot of things that I can do globally on this particular theme. So again, what kind of global changes can you make? And this is pretty easy to do. So if you've made changes in the customizer, make sure you click on publish, and then you can close it to go back to the website. All right, so far we've talked about the page speed. We've talked about how easy is it to install, how easy is it to customize individual pages, and you can see using the block editor. Once you get used to the block editor, it's pretty easy to do. How easy is it to change things globally? Another thing that I like to look at, if I go back into the dashboard, is whether or not the theme installs plugins. So if I go to plugins, and then installed plugins, you can see it installed a few plugins, but they're all free plugins, so I'm okay with that. I do need to have the Cadence block plugin activated in order to use this. Now, if you remember when we looked at Astra earlier, we saw there was a cost for that. I do want to see here for Cadence, if I decide to go to the Pro, if I want to use the Pro starter templates instead of the free ones, I would pay $129. Right now it's normally $149, but it would be $129 per year. Or if I wanted to update to the full bundle, it would be $199. So that's another factor to keep in mind. So something to remember there. Now, after you've evaluated one theme, I don't want you to just stop there. I mean, unless you find the theme that you absolutely love. So if you install Cadence or another theme and you think it's just awesome, you love it, just go ahead and use it. If you didn't absolutely love it, if you thought maybe I can do better, go back and evaluate another theme. So go back to the appearance and add another theme. So I could go through and I can install Ocean WP, or I can evaluate WordPress. Just remember, you want to go through all of those factors when you're evaluating the additional themes. So again, check the starter templates, make sure they load quickly, make sure it's easy to install, make sure that it's easy to customize the page and it's easy to customize globally. Check the price if it's a freemium theme, and just make sure that it's ticking all of the boxes for your WordPress site. Your WordPress site is unique to you, so you may have different factors that are important to you. Well, I hope you found this useful, and thanks for watching. If you find a really great theme that you want to share with everybody, drop it in the comments, let us know, and I hope to see you next time.